Hey, this is Les from the TV Dudes. This week, I was lucky enough to sit down and chat with Emmy winner Jake Hunter. He can currently be seen in the series Class Act, which he also wrote and produced. He stars in the series alongside Eric Roberts, and the first season is currently available now. We talk about that, as well as his baseball career, what got him into acting, and much more. I hope you enjoy.
Hey, Les, it's Jake Hunter calling. How's it going?
Hey, it's going great, man. Thanks so much for taking out the time today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for taking the time as well. I appreciate it.
Tell me a little bit about Class Act, your role in it, not just in front of the camera, but kind of how the project came to be. I mean, you wrote, you produced. How did Class Act come to hit Amazon?
Well, basically, it kind of came to fruition because I had just worked on a show beforehand, that was an Amazon show, so I kind of had learned the ropes of producing. Obviously, my goal was to be an actor, but I kind of wanted to tell, my story as well. So what I kind of was able to do is put a team together, which I'm very grateful for that team, to where we were able to make that come to fruition, whether it was, our contacts at Amazon, our director, Marcus Perry, the other producers, Ben McDonald, Rachel Brooks-Smith, Meredith Jackson, Ronell Parham. I have a list of people that I want to get in there because it took like a big group of us to make it really happen. And then, we had interesting people like Eric Roberts come on board who, he's everywhere, but he's really talented and was really, really great teacher to have for that class. And it's just based about my story about coming to LA, you know what I mean? Of what every actor goes through when you're trying to make it here. You start from the bottom, and I was just like a million other starving artists, to where I was just cruising around in my truck, doing bartending, whatever job I could do, catering to get by. And I'm one of the people that I just kept hustling and working hard, and was lucky enough to book something. So that's kind of where my story arc goes. Obviously, there's things that are extremely heightened as well because this is a dramedy. So this isn't just like the seeing how tough it is. The show does a really good combination of showing the comedic elements of, because there are a ton of comedic elements in this industry, as well as the serious issues that go on as well. So I think that's what we tried to balance in the story.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you mean about, it's great to portray real life, but for the excitement of a show, I get wanting to crank it to 11 or some of the comedic
right.
elements.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about your actual role in front of the camera in the show?
Yeah, so the character was very much myself. I mean, even with writing, acting, it's write what you know, play what you know. That if you can. I mean, obviously, as an actor, your job is to be able to portray all these different characters in the most real way possible. But for when you create your own show, that's the great thing, is that you can create whatever character that you want. And so for me, like I said, a lot of this stuff was just pretty spot on with what was going on with me when I first got here, and getting to kind of relive that through a story and get to act with it. The character, it's very true. Like in the story, it's me starting out, as that guy who is, kind of just cruising around, trying to make it. He joins an acting class, and then, and it's kind of out of the box. And when you first are introduced to the people of LA and the different characters that you have here, it was a little bit of a culture shock for me, and definitely my character. I would say the biggest difference between me and my character is that within the storyline, we have all these different love triangles and stuff like that, and that's a bit different than real life. That's fictional, but my character overall has this kind of tough exterior, and underneath that is just really looking for connection, which I think a lot of people can relate to as well. So yeah, that's what I would say. You can look for and hopefully be able to tell with my character, at least through season 1.
Man, and all those love triangles, I have to imagine you really honed your chops on stuff like that with the Bay as well, which just the description of it sounds absolutely soap opera insane. I mean, anytime you can put taboo sex and malicious lies, like 4 words right there, that that'll stop a headline if you're just cruising through.
I try to definitely put my own twist, and that's not quite that intense. So yeah, I mean, I think that it's also the kind of like, we're all young, we're in class, we're like we're all kind of looking for something here at LA, and especially we're all at that age, a lot of the characters, to where we're like not sure if some people's goal is to be famous, other people's goal is to be working on an amazing project, other people's goals is just to find a relationship. All these different characters within the show, they have a different objective, and that's what's funny, because you're seeing them all play for that objective with really super high stakes. So you can see what everyone's goal is based upon like how they're interacting in the class, almost. So I think that's just a different way to go about it. It's not just like random love triangles for the sake of having love triangles, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely helps reinforce that, not theme, perhaps, maybe not the word, but where you can start to see their characters' arc on multiple levels, and microcosm of it in the class, and the love triangles, and I always feel like when maybe those aren't things that you're supposed to notice, but whenever you kind of feel when they're there, the whole show feels better written or stronger. I remember reading.
I definitely don't want it to stand out. That there's like.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to see the scaffolding necessarily.
Right.
Can you talk a bit about working on projects and getting getting accolade back for it? I feel like oftentimes we get awards for things that just felt like a Tuesday when you were doing them. It didn't feel any different than the rest of your projects. Did the Bay feel like something you were going to get accolades for at the time, or was it just hopeful, like you hope for every project?
The Bay had a successful series of nominations and Emmys and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, when I joined board, I definitely thought that there was an opportunity for that. And it's different. You hit different levels of your career. It's so interesting, because when I first got to LA, the thought of winning an award, winning an Emmy, was so, like, it would be so amazing to me. It seemed like it'd be so amazing. And I'm extremely grateful for that. And then when it happened, it was really cool, because my mom had followed me here to LA, and she got to come with me as my date. It was so cool. Like, we're from a small town upstate, New York. And so it's not like an everyday thing to get to go and, bring your mom to the Emmys and bring her on the carpet, and she had a great time. And then, when they called the show's name, getting to have that moment with her of just like, it felt like a moment of like, wow, this is cool. Like, we're doing something together. Like, I got to share that with her. But then afterwards, I realized that awards and all that stuff, while it's amazing to get recognition, it's like, it's not what I personally want. Like, my goal, like what my only goal is to express the art that I want to create now. And whether it gets recognition or not, that's something that like I'm learning to just not worry about. And that's, I think, like a tough thing, and that's what I think sets people apart and what makes you different. And to me, like, I don't want to follow the crowd. I really want to do my own thing, and I want to, and whatever comes with that comes with that. I just really want to kind of do my own thing and create my own art and say what I want to say with these different pieces. And, I'm extremely grateful for that project. But that wasn't like the project that I'm going to get to express my voice on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like Class Act was definitely one of those. I have another one coming up that I wrote that we're shooting a TV movie in Burbank. We're in the studios there in the beginning of August that I'm really excited about. And then hopefully we're going to be doing a season 2 in the fall as well. And I just have all these new people that have that same goal of just creating amazing art, using that voice and not worrying about the other stuff that I'm collaborating with now. And so I'm so grateful for that. So I'm really, really excited about what we got coming up with that.
Now, when you first kind of discovered acting, the whole craft, and got bit by the bug, did that feel different then than playing baseball was at the time? Did acting feel strikingly different? Did it? How did that kind of come to hit you so hard that you just had to go jump in the truck and move?
Right. Acting. Well, I felt like I had been performing my whole life. Like baseball is obviously a much different type of performing, but like I had been playing in front of people my whole life. I played through college, and my whole goal was to be the next Mike Piazza and play for the Mets. I'm a New Yorker, and that's what I looked up to when I was a kid, and that's what I wanted to do. But then as I got older and things just didn't pan out, I wasn't quite good enough to play pro baseball, and it's an extremely tough, competitive sport. I was just looking for other things to do, and I joined an acting class just kind of completely randomly. One of my other buddies, he had jumped in one. He's like, you should try it. I had nothing else really going on. And when you spend your whole life just going for one thing and it doesn't really seem like it's going to pan out, you're kind of like back to square one. And so I was like, why not, give it a shot? And it just felt like it came easy. Like it was really fun. And I definitely had to come a long way. Like my teacher was like, you're like the stiffest student I've ever had. Like she was like shaking up my arms and stuff like that. But I was like, I don't know. I just felt like I could do it. Like there was just something inside me. And I feel like a lot of artists in LA and a lot of people that keep going for something have this inside them. Like I feel like I can do something really special. And I had that even from square one, even when I was the worst kid in class, that people would be like, oh, if they had to go up with me, they'd be like, oh, great, we're paired with this guy. You know what I mean? But I was still in that mindset of like, I'm going to be really good at this. And, I just got to keep working and keep grinding, and I'm going to get it. And, like that, I'm lucky to have that confidence and belief in myself. And it's definitely, and I've just been working nonstop at it. And it's something like I have all these people that I look up to so much. Anyone that knows me knows this. Like I love James Dean. I love Marlon Brando, Laurence Olivier, all these classic movie people. Like I study and I see what they did so well. And and there's still people present day that I watch too, but I'm a big nerd now, and I have a film, and I work really hard at the craft, and that is my goal, is to be the best that I can be as an actor, and a producer as well, and a writer, not because like I feel the need to be better than the next person, but I feel like if you're going for something, you might as well try to do it the best of your ability. And that's kind of just how I feel about it.
Yeah. Do you feel like having been in a competitive environment where you train, you talk about what went wrong in the previous game. It's not all sunshine and what you did great last week. You want to get better. Do you feel like that informed how you are able to take criticism on creative projects?
Yeah, that helped a lot. Definitely, that helped a lot. I mean, when I was playing baseball, I could always hit, but I had a really weak arm, and I was behind the plate. I was a catcher, so I would actually get made fun of by some of the other teams based on how weak my arm was. So even my junior year of high school, I got cut from varsity, and then I came back and I made the team senior year, and then I got a scholarship to go play in college. So like I've always been used to being told no or dealing with adversity, and so for me, I don't care if somebody says no to me. My brain is like all problem solving and like figuring out how do I get to where I want to go. And I feel like that I've been very lucky to have dealt with that, and I've learned a work ethic from baseball that I'm very grateful for, because I had to work that much harder than the next person to get to just play college baseball. You know what I mean? So I feel like that definitely played a big role into me being able to come here, start from square one. Like 3 years ago, I was doing student films, like I was going out and just trying to audition for anything that I could get a part of. I was so happy. Like I booked one student film. I remember I called my mom and was like talking to her. Like I felt like I was like Brad Pitt. Like I'm dead serious. I was so hyped about booking this student film. Everything and that's the other thing is like, I feel like people are always looking towards the finish line instead of taking it one step at a time. Like I'll take those little wins. And I just kept my head down, and I'm still doing that now because there's still so far to go. I'm nowhere close to where I really want to be, but I'm enjoying the journey. I'm like taking it one step at a time. And then, now I can even look up and say, wow, I can't believe how far that I've come, from where I started. You know what I mean? So I think that that's pretty cool.
I did want to ask, in terms of problem solving, I'm always surprised when I discover how there's always another job or another facet of something happening behind the scenes on a movie that I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even know that was a role there. Beyond just key grip and best boy and stuff, but like all of the decisions that come down to actually getting things on screen. What was the most, or what are you still finding is the most surprisingly out of the blue, you didn't know that was a thing producers had to do to get a thing made?
Well, I would say one of the interesting things, so I just worked on probably my biggest movie. It's definitely the biggest movie I ever worked on. I just got to work on a new Robert De Niro, Morgan Freeman, Tommy Lee Jones movie. I just acted on that. That was it. In New Mexico. I had a small part. I was there for 2 days. Great experience. It was awesome. But I the level of that scale of a movie, I was seeing how much stuff the producers had to balance. I'm there now sitting in my trailer, just kind of relaxing until I get to go shoot. Meanwhile, these producers are putting out a million different fires at once, having to deal with all of the big names on set, while also dealing with, like, the amount of crew that were there was insane. The amount of equipment that they're dealing with is insane. Also up in the mountains where there was, like, for one of the days where there's no Wi-Fi and stuff like that. And, like, and also in a place that, we were in New Mexico, so it's not like we're like, oh, it's, we know we can just get to Hollywood and get whatever we need. Like, no, it's like, there was just, like, the higher the project, the higher the stakes, and the more difficult that it is. And that was just a really good realization for me, because those are the projects that I want to be producing as well and creating. And so it just kind of taught me that, like, I really have to be aware of how much more that I'm going to be dealing with when those projects do come about. And I'm hoping that those projects come about, fairly soon. That's the goal. So it was a great experience for me to see that and experience that.
That's cool, man. Thanks so much for talking to me. I really appreciate it. And
of course.
Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener-supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter @TVDudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.